By doable, we don't mean activities. In other words, when something is doable, it has to do with answering the question, what is going on? And so I will read to you. It's the foreword to a book about the teaching of Jerry Friedman. Jerry Friedman was the first director I worked for in New York. I was his assistant. He was the artistic director of the New York Shakespeare Festival. He directed the most brilliant production of Henry IV, Part 1 and 2 I have ever imagined existed. And then I was his assistant later when he directed Lee J. Cobb and King Lear, and then in Los Angeles. At any rate, Jerry was the head of acting, I think, at Juilliard for many years, and one of his students was Mandy Patinkin. So Mandy wrote the foreword of this book. Okay, so, but in this particular introduction, he says, we were around the table for 3 weeks in total, and at some point in the middle, we get up to do the scene, and I thought, I fucking nailed it. And Jerry said, what did you do? The scene. I understand you did the scene, but what were you doing? And then I sort of described the scene. Well, the guy comes in and does this and that, sort of what the scene is. And he says, what do you mean, sort of what the scene is? He said, well, I was doing what the scene was. What was that? What were you doing? This. Can you do it again? I think so. Jerry said, you think so? I'm supposed to hire you because you think so? Okay. Then he says, I remember Gerald saying in one scene, what are you doing? I'm talking to them. Well, what are you doing when you're talking to them? I'm trying to get them to pay attention. That's not very active. And finally, I said, I'm rallying them. Jerry said, well, do that. And it was easy. So the point is, what we're trying to do all the time, and when I say, if I use the term doable, sometimes I use the term actable, but what I'm talking about is what is going on. If I'm asking you, so what's going on with her? Then you need, first of all, an actable answer to the question. But if you can grab onto the something that I'm doing, the action that I'm playing, and just keeping in mind, it's not fiddling with props. It's not a physical activity. It's an inner activity. I mean, it's an interaction. Does that make sense, that distinction from one to the other?